summer and my spring, you're the song I want to sing. You're everything. You're the sunshine in my day. You're the one who leads the way. You're everything.
Good evening. Tonight, a farewell to Don Lane, the lanky Yank who won a special place in Australia's heart. We'll have the music, the tributes and the jokes. Also on the late news tonight, the sad irony of the farewell letter written by Lance Corporal Mason Edwards. A lively moment as two old political sparring partners come face to face. And the British reporter who stumbled across Australia's long-range desert golf course.
Make sure you have plenty of balls and petrol. If you run out of either, it's a long way back to the clubhouse.
But we start, of course, with the death today after a long illness of entertainer Don Lane. It was a long chain of events that brought him from the United States to Australia, but it soon turned into a mutual love affair.
For 8 years, he was the giant of Australian late-night TV. Not bad for the song and dance man, originally hired as a fill-in at Channel 9. From 1975 to 1983, he won over audiences and was affectionately known as the Lanky Yank.
Rita?
Yes?
Rita? What's the name of the soft, fatty substance found in bones?
Marrow.
Yes!
Lane was the star, but it was his sidekick who helped make the show irresistible viewing.
Is it working for you? I don't know, but I think I love you.
And today, Bert Newton paid tribute to his old mate.
All I can say is I cannot think of anyone whom I liked more in the industry, anybody I enjoyed working with more than Don Lane.
They both had talent to burn. Most of all, they had chemistry. Lane once said the moment they walked out from the curtain, they were magic.
In theatre they have a term for it, and it's a triple threat. In other words, the performer can do anything, and I believe that Don could do anything and did do everything in his performance.
He had Bert as right-hand man, and in the wings, musical director Jeff Harvey, who watched Lane's health diminish over the years.
It's a very sad day, but I think also a great release. I think he wasn't very well.
Lane kick-started Rhonda Birchmore's career. They ended up close friends.
There's no host with that charisma, that talent, that drive, that magic that Don had.
Lane's opposition on TV at the time was entertainer Barry Crocker.
I guess we looked upon ourselves as the Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra of Australia. We were dinosaurs, but by God, we had fun. You have no idea, people out there, the fun that we had.
Lane was also a sport lover, basketball, NFL. He even had a soft spot for his beloved Rabbitohs.
He was so passionate. And now, Don, you're upstairs, mate. You can cheer for us from up there, mate.
In today's world of reality shows, Don Lane now seems old school. But to his peers and those he mentored, Lane was a masterclass.
I guess it is the end of an era because there was Graham Kennedy, that ilk. And I think he's gone way too early.
In 50 years of Australian television, Don was one of 2 or 3 stars we've really had. He looked like a star, he acted like a star. You'd see with a crowd walk in and he had this charisma that stars have. That's what he was.
Personally, I don't think there's ever been an American so embraced by Australians. So it's a very sad day.
For a man who energised the small screen, Lane's final years became a slow, sad goodbye. He was placed in a care facility in 2008 after he was diagnosed with dementia.
It was always classy. Even when it was bad, it was classy.
A few years ago, Lane recorded a tribute for Bert Newton. He could have been talking about himself.
He's really second to none. Good night.
Great performer, a close friend, a man with a wonderful sense of humour.
Mark Burrows, 9 News.
When you list Don Lane's career highlights, it's hard to know where to start, really. He won a swag of Logies and produced hours of TV that was must-watch for a generation of Australians. He was not only entertaining, but could also be controversial. Peter Harvey has this tribute.
Welcome to the Don Lane Show.
He came for 6 weeks and stayed on our screens for more than 30 years.
You're still throwing the
you're still growing, you're still going strong.
Don Lane's love affair with Australia was accidental. Well established on the American nightclub circuit, he had a chance meeting with a Channel 9 producer who asked him to fill in on The Tonight Show. He was an instant success and an Australian star was born. It was 1965.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You now hear me in stereo.
76 trombones led the big parade, with 110 cornets close at hand. They were followed by...
The boy from the Bronx was the son of a New York cop and all-American Mr. Entertainment. From Tonight with Don Lane to a partnership with Bert Newton for In Melbourne Tonight.
What a wonderful, wonderful network this is, T. You know,
Another short-term contract that was to become an Australian institution.
Everything in control, Don.
You know you're pretty, don't you? What do you do to stay so pretty?
Bubbling with energy, passionate about live performance.
We don't give it to her till she begs, please.
Sometimes controversial.
For a commercial break, and you can piss off. We'll be back with Diana Track.
Don Lane was, in those years, the highest paid man on Australian television.
Just your head on my chest, and I'm Mr. Success.
And he won a swag of awards for it, including 12 Logies and a treasured gold Logie. In his later years, he returned to the clubs, but the public always loved him, for he was that rare thing, the visitor who did not outstay his welcome.
Ah, God, I'm cool, eh? And I'm crazy for loving you. Good night, everybody.
Peter Harvey, 9 News.
The TV business is cutthroat, and one of Don Lane's biggest rivals was, of course, Barry Crocker. But that didn't stop them becoming the best of mates. I spoke to Barry Crocker a short while ago. Mr. Crocker, you said earlier today that people have no idea about the fun you two had together. What's your best memory of Don?
There were, well, too many. I mean, we used to send each other up gutless. Don always used to complain about that I sang too well, and I'd always complain that he looked too good. So it was a constant fight. We had this wonderful sort of running battle. I was just saying earlier that it's been a very emotional day, and we're both Scorpios. And Scorpios are inclined to lose their voices. The first things that go when you get emotional are the voices. And suddenly this powerful baritone that he was always envious of is crackling away now. He'd laugh, he'd say, "Good on you, Crocker. At least you can't sing now." And we did all the things that, well, Sinatra and Sammy Davis and Dean Martin did together. We hung out and we had parties. We didn't do anything dreadful, but we had a lot of fun together, and I'm going to miss him.
Yeah. So many of Australia's entertainers, they actually went overseas to make it. Yet here was a man that came here.
That's right. And Don would admit, he'd be the first one to admit that overseas nothing was happening with his career. He was just like all of us working around. He was like me in Australia. And you have to go overseas. He sort of fell into a bit of luck. He went to Hawaii with his new wife. And Dave Allen, who was then the sort of #1 star in Australia, on a Tonight Show, decided he was going to quit, and they needed someone very quickly to fill in. And a man called John Collins, the late John Collins, happened to catch Don's cabaret act, which was always great, and we used to fight about that too, who had the best cabaret act. And he said, "Do you want to go to Australia?" And Don said, "Are you kidding? I'll go anywhere."
Apart from his good looks, what was it about him? Because, as he said, audiences just embraced him for so many years.
Yeah, I think it was a backwards and forwards love affair. I can honestly say that he loved his audience, and even when he was ill at the very end, you know, before he went to the home, he would go shopping in Double Bay, and a fan may come up and talk to him, you know, and he'd speak to them for 10 or 15 minutes, you know, he'd give his time. And he'd be as warm, and that's the sort of person that he was. All that love your faces and everything was a genuine thing with him.
And he was, I guess you would say, a man of many talents. He could do anything that he wanted.
Not according to him. Within reason, he would call me up sometimes 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night. He said, "Hey, Crocker, I can't get the bridge. I can't get the bridge of this song. I got to do it tomorrow night on TV. How's it go? How's it go?"
Do you think we'll ever see a man like Don again?
No. No, I mean, we guys, we're the kind of last of the old-time entertainers. Bobby Lim and Don Lane, myself, Ricky May. The new breed of young comics and performers are terrific. I mean, we have such wonderful talent. But we came from a school of hard knocks where we worked for very little money. It was, you know, we had to sort of really pay our dues. As I said earlier, we had fun, real good fun.
Yeah, we're lucky to have seen a lot of that live on air. Mr. Crocker, thank you very, very much for joining us tonight.
Call me Barry, and I'm gonna.
Thanks, Barry.
I'm gonna miss my mate, I can tell you now, because I couldn't speak to him at the end, and it was hard every day. And I'll catch up with him upstairs somewhere, and we'll have a bit of a jam session. I'll teach him that middle eight.
He'll be waiting. Thank you.
Thank you.
To other news now, and there's widespread outrage at the alleged actions of a Muslim cleric who's written gloating letters to the widows of Australian soldiers killed in Afghanistan. He described the dead soldiers as animals and murderers.
He calls himself Sheikh Haron. What he's allegedly done must rate as one of the most heartless acts imaginable, writing letters to the families and widows of diggers killed in Afghanistan.
When you pick up the front page of the telly today, I think people, their stomachs turn.
Greg Sher was killed in a Taliban rocket attack. 3 days later, his mother and father received a letter from the Sheikh. A Jewish man who kills innocent Muslim civilians, it read, is not a pig, he is 1,000 times worse. Harold Milner was Greg's uncle.
A letter arrived, unfortunately, from the Sheikh, a shocking letter, talking about the fact that why are Australian troops in Afghanistan along those lines, and it really was very upsetting for the family.
No one seems to know anything about him. For a long time we were wondering if this is a hoax.
One of the Sheikh's supporters, a woman called Sister Amira, confronted the widow of Sergeant Brett Teal at his funeral. This is her on the Sheikh's website, referring to the widow of another Aussie soldier.
I feel sorry for you, but not for him. I do not honour the soldiers who go to unjust wars. I do not feel for murderers.
Another of the Sheikh's letters reached the family of Matthew Hopkins, killed in May. He left behind a baby boy. His widow Victoria spoke to 60 Minutes a month after he died.
I tell Alex that his dad was over there trying to help the people. He went down as a hero.
Alison Langdon, 9 News.
Few words can offer comfort to grieving loved ones, but somehow Lance Corporal Mason Edwards knew what to say. The soldier wrote a final letter to his family in case he died while fighting in Afghanistan. It was never meant to be read, but then he was never meant to die during a routine training drill.
Lance Corporal Mason Edwards knew better than anyone the danger of his job. On one of his 2 tours of Afghanistan, he wrote words he hoped would never be read. But after being killed during a live ammunition exercise on Tuesday night, they've been made public. We do what we do for many reasons. I need little more reason than this. Any one of us could have been born in Afghanistan, but we're the lucky ones. We enjoy a lifestyle unsurpassed by anyone in the greatest country on earth. The most moving words were reserved for those closest, including partner Cassie. To family, friends and my one and only Cassie, I loved them all until the day I died. I'll stay young forever and love them forever. Death, a risk all soldiers, including former Commando Martin Hamilton Smith, know all too well.
Every soldier hopes it won't be him. In war, these things happen. We should all be proud of Mason we should all be proud of every one of his comrades.
Lance Corporal Edwards' family released their own tribute, saying their hearts ached at the loss of a loving son, brother, uncle and partner. In a statement, they described him as strong but gentle and caring, with an infectious, easygoing attitude. We'll always remember the way you showered us in love and affection. We'll forever miss you and be in our hearts forever. Virginia Langerberg, 9 News.
A Melbourne jury will have to decide if a father who allegedly threw his daughter off the Westgate Bridge was mentally impaired. 36-year-old Arthur Philip Freeman appeared for the first time in the Supreme Court today. He's accused of the murder of his 4-year-old daughter Darcy Freeman in January. A trial for the case has been set down in April. It's expected to run for 3 weeks with a potential 80 witnesses. 88-year-old West Australian man and former Hungarian soldier Charles Zentai is in a Perth prison tonight after being taken into custody over claims he murdered a Jewish teenager during World War II. Mr Zentai has been fighting moves to extradite him since 2005. He says he's innocent, but after a lengthy and expensive court battle, it was ruled 2 weeks ago he should be extradited to Hungary to face the charges. Federal Attorney General Robert McClellan now has the final say on Mr Zentai's extradition. When it comes to politics, there isn't much Malcolm Fraser and Paul Keating agree on. But today, the former Prime Ministers traded friendly jabs as they came together to launch a book on a shared passion.
What do these men have in common? They're from either side of the political divide, but these two former PMs do have a shared passion for the buildings where Australian democracy was born. And Paul Keating showed he's lost none of his skill for memorable quotes, whether talking about Parliament's upper house,
the Senate is an accident waiting to happen,
or Victorian architecture.
I used to call it Whorehouse Rococo, but I don't anymore. Or Bordello Baroque.
Malcolm Fraser was the Prime Minister who commissioned the new Parliament House, now admitting he doesn't like it.
I'm not particularly proud of that, but it seems to me that it divides politicians from the publics they're meant to serve, because it is even grander than the grandest buildings in the city of Melbourne.
As every Melburnian should know, the exhibition buildings are the site of Australia's first parliament before it was moved to Canberra. And Paul Keating says that should never have happened.
Canberra is, of its essence, a great mistake. The capital should never have been there. It should have been in Melbourne or Sydney.
But the man once named the world's greatest treasurer has an economic solution.
Malcolm spent $1 billion. If you just put a reasonable depreciation rate through that through time, in about 25 years, Malcolm, we can walk away.
Brett McLeod, 9 News.
Let's take a look now at what's making headlines in tomorrow's national press. And The Australian says Indonesian immigration officials claim that Kevin Rudd's Boat People strategy, which includes the processing of asylum seekers in their country, will cost more than $50 million. Sydney's Daily Telegraph exclusively reports that the Liberal Party has approached former League star Hazem El Masri to run in the Lakemba electorate in the 2011 state election. Melbourne's Age newspaper claims that the Rudd government is considering giving extra compensation to Victoria's high-polluting power stations after lobbying by the Brumby government. Brisbane's Courier Mail claims only 150,000 of the nearly 1 million computers that Kevin Rudd promised to Australian secondary students have actually arrived on desks. And the Adelaide Advertiser has an exclusive with former AFL star Wayne Carey, who is preparing to move back to Melbourne to be with his 4-year-old daughter Ella, who he's described as his saviour. Now here's a look at what's coming up on the Today Show.
Thanks, Wendy. Now, the revolutionary diet that millions around the world swear by is coming to Australia, but will it work for you? Actually, when I say you, I don't mean Wendy at all.
No, Wendy doesn't need to diet.
Fine.
Beautiful. Now, your guide to all the runners, also Wendy, and riders in this weekend's big race, the Cox Plate.
And the sexiest swimsuit moments on the big screen. Can you pick them? Send anything you like, Wendy.
Ahead in 9's late news for you, Nicole goes to Washington making a special plea to America's leaders. And the robber who found God midway through a hold-up but took the money anyway.
He was the tall man with a big smile and even bigger heart, a Channel 9 icon who lit up the screen and brought joy and laughter into Aussie homes decade after decade.
It's up to you.
A much-loved friend, a true legend, Don Lane, never forgotten.
Hi, I'm Angela. I'm from Sydney Endovascular Specialists. We have our business insured with Allianz. Allianz is an important part of our practice. I find them really easy to deal with. All the computers really need to be insured. If anything happened, we could get them either fixed or replaced. We got an insurance policy that was really perfect for our practice. They spoke in language that I could understand. Very quick and easy to deal with Allianz.
For business insurance, call Allianz now on 131000 or contact your broker.
Men's Suit Warehouse Direct. Why pay more for quality pure wool suits? New season fabrics and styles. Suits from $2.99 with no suit over $3.99. Men's Suit Warehouse Direct. Corner Victoria and Church Streets, Richmond, and corner Queen and Lonsdale Street, City. Open 7 days.
What's happening in a few weeks' time? And where do you want to go?
Right, we'll try that again. Where? Well, you heard them.
You're watching The Late News. Another child has fallen through a window in Sydney. The 6-year-old boy was playing with his sister in an upstairs bedroom when he somehow fell through the fly screen and onto the ground. He's been airlifted to hospital in a serious but stable condition. On Sunday, a similar accident killed a toddler in Kogarah. It's the 6th time in as many months that a Sydney child has died or has been seriously injured after falling through a window. It said you can pick your friends but not your family, and there's no doubt family can sometimes push the limits. But Ida Buttrose was unflinching today as she supported her nephew when he faced court on charges of using and dealing cocaine.
Ida Buttrose is famous as a magazine editor, board member and media celebrity. But today she took on a very different role, supporting her drug-dealing nephew. Richard Buttrose is facing life behind bars after dealing cocaine in Sydney's eastern suburbs last year. Police discovered nearly 6 kilograms of the drug and $1.3 million in cold hard cash when they raided his Darling Point home. The 36-year-old's famous aunt told the court she was absolutely shocked to hear he was taking drugs. He was the last person in the world. Richard Buttrose broke down in tears as he told the court he began using it recreationally. I understand it's wrong, however, in the circle of friends I mix in, it's much like having a glass of wine. When I got arrested, my drug use was out of control. I started snorting cocaine myself and bagging it up. I was obsessed with it. His wife sat sobbing in court. Mr. Buttrose told his psychologist that around the eastern suburbs he was known as the man and that he was never motivated by greed. His doctor concluded that his drug habit was motivated by the need for affection and acceptance. The father of 2 will be sentenced on December the 4th. Jessica Rich, 9 News.
Nicole Kidman took a cause close to her heart right to the US Congress today, calling for a campaign to end violence against women.
Violence against women and girls is perhaps the most systematic, widespread human rights violation in the world.
Kidman, a UN ambassador, is seeking American backing for a global charter to enforce the protection of women. Also caught up in the whirl of Washington life today, Michelle Obama, who showed she's pretty handy with a hula hoop. The First Lady is a campaigner for healthy diet and exercise. For the record, she managed to twirl that hoop 142 times. An armed bandit in America has been born again, almost. He staged a stick-up at a finance centre, but the clerk began crying and calling on help from God. The man broke down, joined the clerk in prayer, and then took the bullet out of his gun. Later, she told a police operator what happened.
Started crying and praying, and I telling him, don't do this. He was too young to throw away his life.
As we said, the thief was remorseful, sort of. He only took $20 after locking the clerk in a back room, but surrendered later when a crime scene photo was shown on TV. Well, sometimes it's interesting to see our country through someone else's eyes. Tonight, a story from British television about the world's longest golf course right here in Australia. It runs in fits and starts, hole by hole, almost across 1,400 kilometres of the Nullarbor Plain. Our guide for the journey is Sky reporter Simon Chalk, who found the outback and the golf something of a challenge.
There are some golf courses which demand a good driver. Well, here's one where no matter how far or how badly you hit the ball, you're in no danger of slicing it onto the next hole.
Some golfers like to use a buggy. I prefer to walk, but this is a course where you really do need a set of wheels.
The Nullarbor Links golf course is strung out along 850 miles of mostly featureless road between Ceduna and Kalgoorlie. It's one of the most boring stretches of tarmac in the world, but now there are 18 reasons to stop.
If I was to walk to the next hole, it would be the middle of the night by the time I got there, because the next hole is 60 miles away. Even driving is going to take me the best part of an hour.
When I got there, I found Simon, a truck driver who finds golf breaks up the monotony of the trip, though it's far from easy.
Very challenging, extremely daunting, club destroying, but fabulous fun.
That's a good tip. Don't use your best set of clubs. There's hardly any grass, just a lot of dirt and stones. The greens are artificial.
Oh, yes.
And some aren't even green. These are made from sand mixed with diesel, which needs to be scraped before putting. So if you like your golf courses carefully manicured, this is not for you. There are hazards to be faced on the journey. Wild camels, kangaroos and wombats on the road. And as you'd expect, there are plenty of places to lose your ball.
Oi, stop filming this bit.
But 1.7 million hits on their website suggests it's attracted international interest.
People are looking for an adventure and an experience, and, you know, Ian, this is the real Australia. It really is.
You think Tiger would like to go around here?
Can you imagine thousands of people arriving at Ballinadia to watch Tiger Woods play? It'd be awesome.
Brian has come all the way from Canada for the opening tournament, and he plans to return next year for what will be a longer visit.
Well, we are planning on coming back in the spring and walking the course.
Walking?
Yes. For a charity, we're just organizing all the logistics right now. So
how long will that take to walk it?
We figure 30 to 40 days.
Me, I'd had enough after a mere 250 miles.
Well, I'm not going to do any better than that, so I think that after 5 holes, it's time to call it a day.
One final tip, make sure you have plenty of balls and petrol. If you run out of either, it's a long way back to the clubhouse.
And check now what's making headlines around the world, and asylum seekers aren't just making headlines in Australia but in Canada too. The National Post claims one of the 76 migrants who arrived off the British Columbia coast in a cargo ship last weekend is wanted in Sri Lanka for terrorism. The New York Times reports on the underworld of shopping in Gaza. Everything from Coca-Cola to plasma screens, motorbikes and sheep are being smuggled across the border through some 1,500 tunnels. And the London Evening Standard reports on a man dubbed the King of the Swindlers. Serial conman Paul Bint is on trial for impersonating a top lawyer and fleecing women through the Lonely Hearts column of a newspaper. In sport after the break, a black cloud over David Hayes' big hope for the Melbourne Cup. And a day off pro surfing, and what do you think Mick Fanning went and did?
I've got my car insurance with Allianz. Well, it's vital. I couldn't do without a car. In the mornings, I'll be down at the beach, working out myself or taking my son down there for training. Initially, what drew me to Allianz was the price competitiveness. I get discounts for safe driving, and to me, that's important. And it's also the security of being with a big company. In today's economic times, you need that peace of mind. Allianz is just very easy to deal with.
Call Allianz now on 131,000.
It was a bold front-runner, a heavyweight champion with a will to win. In a race where legends are made,
The Tats Cox Plate, October 24, 2009, Moonee Valley Racing Club. Who will be the legend this year?
The lead up to Saturday's Cox Plate was overshadowed today by a setback to the Melbourne Cup hopes of trainer David Hayes. Imported galloper Changing of the Guard is being troubled by a large abscess on one of his back feet and could be withdrawn from the race.
David Hayes was every bit the high flyer this morning. Having overseen his charges at Flemington, he jumped into a helicopter for a dash across town to watch what was to have been a searching gallop by a Changing of the Guard. But this was the extent of his work at Sandown. A foot abscess rendered the Melbourne Cup contender lame.
The nature of these injuries with a foot abscess, especially in the hind foot, is that they come up quickly and they burst and then they're gone. So hopefully it won't linger.
Late today, Changing of the Guard was again taken onto the track, but the situation hadn't improved.
Everything's on hold. If it bursts in the next few days, it won't hold him up much at all. He's a very fit horse. But if it lingers on for 3 or 4 days, there'll probably be 2010, here we come.
Away from the drama of Sandown, several Cox Plate hopefuls were stepping out at Caulfield. Among them, 2007 winner El Segundo. The 8-year-old is now injury-free, and trainer Colin Little believes he's capable of capping off a remarkable comeback.
He's been there at that top level for a long time, and you know, he doesn't act like an old horse. He's still got a lot of enthusiasm.
The Mick Price-trained Heart of Dreams continues to impress. Fitness-wise, he can do no more.
He's had a good week. He had a good gallop last Saturday morning. He had a really good gallop on at Breakfast with the Stars at Moonee Valley. I think he's absolutely spot on. If he gets a nice run in the race and can't win, well, he's probably not good enough.
And at Flemington, Cox Plate favourite Who Got You was also given a light workout. The real work is still a couple of days away. Tony Jones, 9 News.
The Kangaroo side to take on New Zealand in the opening test of the Four Nations tournament includes 3 new faces. Brett Morris has claimed a wing spot ahead of his brother Josh, while Ben Hannant will start at prop and Brett White off the bench. The Australians looked electric at training and wouldn't be drawn into comments by Benji Marshall that the Kiwis have a happier and more cohesive team.
Benji's more than happy to comment on how the Kiwis are doing things. I'm sure that they're doing things very well, but we're quite confident in the way we're doing things.
While the Kiwi coach downplayed his captain's observations.
Not much I can say about that. I mean, that's Benji.
Kangaroo coach Tim Sheens has instructed Trent Waterhouse to play bodyguard for Darren Lockyer, protecting him from the Kiwi forwards. Well, what's a pro surfer to do when he needs to relax and take a break from competition? Well, what else but go surfing? When a storm put the Rip Curl Pro in Portugal on hold, Aussie Mick Fanning threw himself into the ocean for a free surfing session. He drew quite a crowd as he took on the big swell, which proved a test even for the champion. Fanning is in a battle with fellow Australian Joel Parkinson for this year's title. The contest should resume tomorrow. Still to come, the latest in finance, Janie Seal with all the national weather. And then we'll finish with a song from Don Lane.
Honey, I'll pay the rent. Look at you. I know I done you wrong.
If there's a barbie going on in Australia, our fresh white bread's there. Dressing up a snag or dressing down a chicken tenderloin. It's mopping up, it's covering up and filling up while you wait. It's making a steak sanger, and a plate for the bangers. Is there anything it can't do? Your barbie needs fresh white bread, and Australia's favourite is Baker's Delight. Aussie born, Aussie bread.
Hello, Australia.
Is this the New Zealand you are this time?
Forever young, I want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
Being the youngest country in the world means an outdoor bursting with life and vitality. And that's just the way you'll feel as soon as you step outside.
Go to newzealand.com
and plan your invigorating break right now.
Right.
We saw some contrasting signs of the times today in the world of finance. In southwestern WA, a convoy of trucks carrying enormous pieces of mining equipment, part of BHP's $2.5 billion upgrade of its Worsley alumina refinery. An indication perhaps that the state's resources boom, which suffered a heavy hit in the financial crisis, could be on the mend again. The flip side of the coin, kayaking protesters shutting down a coal loading facility in Brisbane. They took to the water as part of their fight against greenhouse gas emissions. Some locked themselves onto a conveyor belt, while others took to the river to blockade a ship headed for Taiwan. Turning to the markets now for you, and in Britain, the FTSE 100 index is down 53 points at mid-session. Our market closed lower again today. The All Ords fell 27 points. Rio Tinto managed to add value, up 20 cents, but BHP Billiton dropped 17. Westpac gained 13 cents and the Commonwealth put on 11. Woolworths, though, dropped 39. Telstra rose 1 cent. On to commodities, and gold is weaker this evening while oil is trading at $80.49 a barrel. And taking a look at the currency markets, one Australian dollar is worth 92.27 US cents tonight. That's weaker. 84 yen, 55 British pence, 61.5 euro and $1.22 in New Zealand. Now for the national weather, here's Janie Seal.
We have a trough which will move a little bit further south on Friday. That will spark off some more storms through the east, Sydney included. The high will be the main feature, bringing most of the country some fine weather. If we have a look at those capitals, in fact, most of you will have a dry end to the working week. Just some cloud about in Melbourne, 20 degrees, and those storms rolling in for the afternoon. Sydney up to 28 degrees for the city. And then on the weekend, we've got that low in the east, which will slowly move further towards the coastline. That will bring some more rain, and we've got a front which will sweep across that southeastern corner of the country, remaining dry, mostly dry in fact through the west, just the odd splash or two through the interior. But if we have a look at those temperatures once again, Perth sunny, 28 degrees, and that rain pushing into that southeastern corner. Sydney again, look out for some afternoon storms. Also Canberra 25 degrees. And then on Sunday we are expecting a bit of a rain event to move through. We've got that low once again. It could bring up to around 10 to 20 millimetres around the Sydney area. The good news is for those of you that need the rain, northern inland parts of New South Wales could see some decent rain as well. So fingers crossed for that. This high moving into the bite and some cooler southerly winds in that southeastern corner. Temperatures once again for your Sunday, it will drop quite significantly if you are in Sydney. 20 degrees, only 14 for those of you in Canberra. Some cloud in the west and staying fine in Brisbane. A top of 32 degrees for your Sunday.
Melbourne's Docklands area will soon have a steamy reminder of its old days as a working waterfront. The last Australian designed and built steam tugboat could soon take up residence.
Rising from the water, the Wattles' first steps towards a new beginning.
After 76 years, she deserves a makeover, and today is the day of lifting her out and giving her a new lease of life.
Built during the Great Depression by apprentices, the Wattle has been birthed at Docklands, just waiting for a worthy crew to realise her full potential. Volunteer Murray Hill, one of the last surviving steam engineers, is among a team that's going to give this old lady a makeover. Like many aboard, steam tugboats have been his way of life.
The only thing I came ashore was to get married. I would have stayed there forever.
Dick Francis has been captain of the ship since 2003 and believes he has a star on his hands.
This, we hope, will end up as a bit of a challenge to Puffing Billy when it comes to steam. Can't carry as many passengers, but we can give them a bigger thrill, we think.
Volunteers plan to have the Wattle back out on the water in about 2 years. They hope it'll become a major tourist attraction here at Docklands, with regular trips up and down the Yarra River.
I think we'd be breaking open the champagne on that day, plenty of it.
Vicky Jardine, 9 News.
And that is the late news for you this evening, but you can keep up to date through our website, and that's at 9msn.com.au/news. Let's finish with some music from Don. Good night.
Somehow I'd look at you when I could see that smile you're smiling now. Well, I knew I'd do so the cooking, honey. I'd pay the rent. I'd look at you. I know I'd done you that smile you're smiling now. Well, if I could count it down in New York, look at that region. Oh, God, in town, but no more.
These are the greatest ARIA award-winning acts of our time.
Who will be this year's most popular group?
Channel 9 welcomes home the ARIA Awards.